Hello everyone, welcome to Stoic Wisdom today. I'm so glad you're here today, because what we're about to talk about could be the spark you need to truly change your life. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like happiness is just out of reach? Like it's something you'll finally find someday when you have more success, more time, or more luck? Or maybe you've told yourself, if only things were different. If only I had more opportunities, if only I could get past this one obstacle, then I'd be happy. Well, I'm here to tell you something that may sound harsh, but it's the truth. Happiness isn't something you just stumble upon. It's something you have to actively build. But before you can build the life you want, there's something you need to confront. What's standing in your way? And here's the truth most people won't tell you. It's not fate, it's not bad luck, and it's definitely not other people standing in your way. The biggest obstacle to your happiness is denial. We spend years hiding from discomfort, escaping into distractions, justifying our choices, and painting over reality with half-truths. How many times have you heard someone say, "I don't need to think about that right now," or "I'll deal with it later"? The truth is, we've all done it. We try to avoid facing the things that make us uncomfortable, and in doing so, we keep ourselves stuck. But let me tell you something. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in confrontation. The real growth comes when you stop running from the hard truths and finally look them in the eye. You see, life isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about waiting for the perfect time or the right energy or the ideal circumstances. It's about accepting things for what they are. No sugarcoating, no excuses. And here's where I want to set the tone for today's video. This episode isn't designed to make you feel good. It's not about softening the truth for comfort. It's about waking you up. These truths might sting. They might challenge your ego. Some might even make you feel uncomfortable. But that's the point. Truth is rarely soft, but it's always freeing. When you stop running from the truth, something incredible happens. You change. Your life starts to shift in ways you never imagined possible. You see things clearly, without the blur of denial. And when you begin to face those uncomfortable truths, that's when the real transformation begins. So, in today's video, we're going to explore 12 harsh truths that might just shake you to your core. These aren't meant to discourage you. They're here to empower you. They're here to help you stop waiting for life to change. Stop blaming others. Stop pretending that everything is fine. And start living with your eyes wide open and your heart open too. It's about living not perfectly, but honestly. Not pain-free, but powerfully. Because let's face it, a happy life isn't something you find by chance. It's something you actively choose. And truth is the foundation that happiness is built on. Throughout this episode, we're going to look at these harsh truths in detail. They will challenge your perspective on life, on happiness, and on what it means to truly live with purpose. Some of these truths may sting a little, but I promise you, on the other side of that discomfort is the life you've been waiting for. You won't find happiness in the fantasy or the future. You'll find it in the reality of today, once you choose to live with clarity. So buckle up, because we're not here to sugarcoat anything. This is about facing the truth, embracing it, and using it to guide us toward a life we choose, not one that just happens to us. Truth 1. You're not that important. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. That sounds pretty harsh. But stick with me for a moment, because this truth has the power to set you free. How often have you found yourself obsessing over what people think of you? Maybe you've replayed conversations in your head, wondering if you said the wrong thing, or perhaps you hesitated to take a risk, worrying about looking foolish in front of others. Maybe you've even avoided doing something you really wanted to do, simply because of the fear of judgment. We all do it. It's natural to want to feel seen, to matter, to be recognized. But here's the truth that can change everything. Most people aren't thinking about you at all. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but think about it. How much time do you spend in your own head, consumed by your own worries, your own doubts, your own flaws? Chances are other people are doing the same. We live in a world where it's so easy to get trapped in the illusion that we are the center of everyone else's attention. We imagine that people are constantly watching us, critiquing our every move, our every word, as if the world revolves around us. But here's the harsh reality. It doesn't. People are consumed with their own lives, their own insecurities, and their own self-doubts, just like you. And that's not because people are selfish. It's just the way we're wired. The moment you understand this, something amazing happens. You become free. You no longer have to live under the weight of imagined judgment. You're no longer bound by the constant need to impress, to defend yourself, or to explain your every action. Instead, you're free to be yourself. Flawed, evolving, real, just as you are. This is where the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and emperor, becomes incredibly powerful. He said you shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all. Marcus wasn't being cold or distant. He was teaching us something profound. The world doesn't stop spinning because you're embarrassed. Life doesn't pause because you made a mistake. And yet, we often get caught in the trap of thinking that our mistakes are the end of the world. We believe that the embarrassment or failure we experience is something that everyone else will remember, something that will define us. But that's just not the case. The truth is, most people will forget what you did, what you said, and even what you wore. They might remember the big moments, but most of the small, awkward details that you obsess over, they'll fade into oblivion. And guess what? That's okay. When you finally accept this truth, it's incredibly liberating. You stop trying to be impressive, and you start being intentional. Think about it. What if you stopped editing your life for an audience that isn't even paying attention? What if you focused on creating a life that makes sense to you, rather than trying to meet the expectations of people who are too busy with their own lives to notice? This truth isn't about diminishing you. It's about releasing you from the chains of perfection and approval. Once you stop trying to be important in the eyes of others, you step into your own power. You become brave enough to fail, bold enough to speak your truth, and humble enough to grow. It's an incredibly freeing experience when you realize that the opinions of others no longer control you. You stop living your life for external validation, and you start living for yourself, for the person you are and the person you are becoming. So here's the big question. How much of your energy goes into trying to control how others see you? And what would happen if you redirected that energy inward into becoming someone you respect, regardless of whether others notice or not? The truth is, it doesn't matter if people remember your name or not. What matters is that you never forget who you are. You remember what you stand for, what you value, and what you're here to do. I know that sometimes it feels like our whole lives revolve around the fear of being judged, but that's just the illusion. People are thinking about themselves, not you. And once you realize that, you begin to live in a whole new way. No longer chasing after approval or recognition, but chasing after a life that aligns with your deepest values. So let's recap this truth. You're not that important, and that's the best news you can hear. When you accept this, you're free. Free to live authentically, free to take risks, and free to fail without the weight of constant judgment. Let go of the need for validation and focus on living for yourself, not for an audience that isn't paying attention. This truth doesn't diminish you, it empowers you. It takes the pressure off and allows you to live a life that's meaningful to you, not to others. The more you embrace this freedom, the more you'll find that life starts unfolding in ways you never imagined. Truth 2. Not everyone is going to like you. I know. It's tough to hear, especially if you've ever twisted yourself into a shape that wasn't really you, just to fit in, to be accepted, or to avoid conflict. Maybe you've laughed at jokes that weren't funny just to blend in. Or maybe you've stayed quiet when something didn't feel right, all because you didn't want to make waves. Or perhaps you've said yes when deep down you wanted to scream no. We've all done it. At some point, we all have twisted our true selves in an effort to be accepted by others. It seems harmless at first, just a little compromise here and there, a tiny sacrifice of authenticity for the sake of peace or popularity. But over time, the cost of this self-betrayal becomes painfully clear. You're not being kind, you're not being understanding, you're betraying yourself. You're giving up who you are for something that won't even last. That feeling of being accepted, that validation from others, it's temporary, and in the end, it costs you your sense of self. Now, here's the harsh reality. No matter how kind, thoughtful, or generous you are, there will always be someone who misunderstands you, who criticizes you, or who outright rejects you. It's not a flaw in you, it's simply the way life works. People are wired to react to their own fears, insecurities, and experiences. They don't always see you for who you really are. Instead, they see you through their own lens, a lens that's shaped by their own struggles and their own stories. This truth is incredibly freeing once you really accept it. You no longer have to carry the weight of trying to be everyone's favorite person. You stop wasting energy on trying to win the approval of others who don't truly understand or appreciate you. And instead, you focus on becoming the person you can be proud of, the person you are meant to become. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, bluntly said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's right. Sometimes your growth will threaten others. When you evolve, when you become more authentic, when you become truer to yourself, some people will resist that. They may even resist you, because your growth forces them to look at their own stagnation, their own fears, their own discomfort. But here's the thing. Growth means accepting that not everyone is going to be your biggest fan. Not everyone will cheer for you, and that's okay. In fact, it's a necessary part of growth. The more you grow, the more you outgrow certain environments, certain expectations, and sometimes even certain people. And that's not a loss. It's a sign that you're on the right path. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever felt that pressure to conform to what others want, to shrink yourself to fit their mold, to play small just so that you're not a threat to their comfort? I'm here to tell you, it's not love when you do that. It's performance. You're not being loved for who you are. You're being loved for the mask you wear, for the version of you that's edited and curated for the approval of others. And that's not the kind of love or connection you want in your life. So, what's the alternative? Radical honesty. Not the kind that's designed to hurt or offend, but the kind that refuses to shrink. The kind of honesty that says, I'd rather be disliked for being real than praised for being fake. When you begin to live from a place of radical honesty, you start to see true confidence. It's not about seeking approval from everyone. It's about being so sure of yourself that you no longer care if people like you. You're not looking for validation. You're looking for authenticity, connection, and peace. And here's the beauty of this truth. When you stop trying to be liked by everyone, you create space for the people who really see you. The ones who appreciate your honesty, who love you for who you truly are, not for the image you've carefully crafted. These are the people who will challenge you, grow with you, and support you in ways that are real and meaningful. So ask yourself this: are you shaping your life to be admired by others? Or are you shaping your life to be lived by you? Every time you water yourself down to please the crowd, you move further away from the person you were meant to be. But every time you stand firm in your truth, Even if it makes some people uncomfortable, you take a step closer to freedom. Here's the hard truth. Not everyone is going to like you, and that's not rejection, that's reality. Accepting this is the beginning of true self-respect. It's realizing that you don't need to be liked by everyone. In fact, you can't be liked by everyone. And when you stop trying, you make space for the people who truly align with your values, your energy, and your journey. So embrace this truth. Let go of the need for universal approval. Live your life for you. And when the inevitable rejection comes, and it will, remember it's not about you, it's about them, your journey, your truth, your growth. That's what matters. And that wraps up truth too. Not everyone is going to like you. It's uncomfortable, but it's freeing. Once you let go of the need to be liked, you open yourself up to a life that's more authentic, more real, and ultimately much more fulfilling. Let's dive into the next powerful truth. Truth 3, you are not defined by what you have. This one challenges the very core of our materialistic society, where we often link our value to the things we own or the status we've built. But there's so much more to you than the things you possess. Truth 3, you are not defined by what you have. Let's talk about something that we're all guilty of at times. We live in a world where what you have often dictates who you are. Your car, your clothes, your house, your bank account. These are the things we use to measure success, worth, and happiness. And let's face it, we've all felt the sting of comparing ourselves to others when their possessions seem to be better, bigger, or more impressive than ours. How many times have you looked at someone's social media, their shiny new car, their perfectly curated life, and thought, I want that? It's so easy to fall into the trap of believing that the more we have, the more successful, valued, and worthy we become. But here's the brutal truth. You are not what you have. When the applause fades, when the titles vanish, and when those possessions no longer impress anyone, what are you left with? Nothing but yourself. The emptiness we feel when we focus on accumulating things to fill that internal void is real, but it's also misleading. The reality is that no amount of wealth, status, or material possession can truly fill that emptiness. Why? Because that longing, that need to fill the space inside, is not something that can be satisfied by external things. It's something much deeper. It's about who you are, not what you own. There's a famous quote by Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, who had wealth, power, and influence, yet he still saw the emptiness in all of it. He wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Think about that for a second. The problem isn't having too little. It's craving more, always wanting more, always believing that the next thing will bring fulfillment, and that this endless cycle will finally make us happy. The truth is, it doesn't. Because the craving is rooted in something deeper, an insecurity, a belief that we're not enough as we are. That's why we buy things, post pictures, or chase status, to prove to the world and maybe even ourselves that we're valuable. But the more we chase these things, the more we find that they only provide temporary relief. They fill the hole for a moment, and then the emptiness creeps back in. So how do we break free from this? How do we stop tying our self-worth to the things we own, the money we make, or the titles we wear? We start by redefining our value. Real value doesn't come from what's in your bank account or what you drive. It comes from who you are, from your character, your integrity, your compassion, and how you treat others when no one is watching. You are not the house you live in. You are not the car you drive. You are not the brand of clothes you wear. You are the choices you make. You are the way you show up in the world. You are the way you treat people, especially when there's nothing in it for you. You are the way you speak to yourself when no one else is around, the way you speak to your soul when it's vulnerable, when it's down, when it's struggling. That's where your value lies. Let's talk about one of the most powerful realizations from Carl Jung. a famous psychoanalyst. He said, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." This is incredibly powerful because it shifts the focus from the external to the internal. It's not about looking outside for validation or comparing yourself to others. It's about turning inward and asking yourself, what am I building here? What kind of person am I becoming? That's where the real transformation happens. Not when you get more stuff, not when you get more followers, not when you're on the cover of a magazine. The transformation happens when you stop looking outward for the answers and start looking within. When you stop defining yourself by your possessions and start defining yourself by your values, your actions, and your impact. And here's the hard truth. The most terrifying thing is to accept yourself completely. To stand in front of the mirror, stripped of achievements, stripped of labels, and ask, am I enough without all the extras? Most people avoid this question their entire lives because it forces them to face a truth they're not ready to accept. They're afraid that without the house, the job, the attention, they might feel empty. But here's the thing. That fear is a lie. Because who you are is not found in your possessions. It's found in your principles, your integrity, and how you treat others. It's found in the way you show up for yourself when no one else is looking. So here's the challenge for you. What would it feel like to put down the armor? To stop performing for the world and start being who you truly are. To stop seeking validation in things and start seeking it in how you treat others, how you live in alignment with your values, and how you make the world a better place, no matter how small that change might seem. When you stop defining yourself by what you have, something incredible happens. You start attracting the things that truly matter: respect, real connection, inner peace. Not because you're chasing them, but because you're living in alignment with who you really are. Let's recap this truth. You are not what you have. Real value comes from who you are, not what you own. Stop seeking fulfillment in material possessions and start looking inward. Your worth is found in your character, your integrity, and the way you show up for others. And that's the third harsh truth. When you stop defining yourself by what you have, you free yourself to live a life of real fulfillment, grounded in purpose and authenticity. And trust me, when you start living this way, the things that truly matter will come into your life naturally. Great, let's take a deeper look at truth 4. You always have a choice, and how it ties into defining yourself by your values instead of possessions. This truth is about taking responsibility and realizing that the power to change your life is in your hands, and that your values and choices shape who you are, not the material things you own. So we've just talked about the importance of realizing that you are not defined by what you have. Now, let's explore something that takes that idea even further. What if I told you that everything in your life, everything that happens to you, and the way you feel about it, is a result of the choices you make? That's right, you always have a choice. Now I'm sure you're thinking, but life isn't always so simple. There are so many things I can't control. And you're absolutely right. There are plenty of things in life that we can't control. We can't control other people's actions, the weather, or even the unexpected curveballs life throws at us. But here's the game changer. While we can't control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. And that's where your power lies. Think about it. In every situation, no matter how difficult or challenging, you have the ability to choose how you respond. You can choose your attitude. You can choose your actions. You can choose to look at a setback as a lesson or as a failure. You can choose to give up, or you can choose to keep going, even when the going gets tough. In the face of challenges, many people fall into the trap of feeling helpless. They believe that their circumstances define them. They say things like, I have no choice but to stay stuck in this job, or I have no choice but to stay in this relationship, or I have no choice but to give up on my dreams. But the truth is, you always have a choice. It's about how you perceive the situation and how you choose to respond. This power of choice is something that Stoic philosophers like Epictetus understood deeply. He said, man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. The key here is that it's not the hardship itself that breaks us, it's the stories we tell ourselves about that hardship. It's the fear, the doubt, the assumptions about what might happen that often hold us back. Let's break this down further with an example. Imagine you lose your job. It's a tough situation, no doubt. But now you face a choice. You can choose to see this as a devastating blow, something that will ruin your life. Or you can choose to see it as an opportunity to reevaluate your goals, to take a risk, and to explore a new career path that aligns more with your passions and values. The choice is yours. This applies to every aspect of life, whether it's a personal challenge, a financial setback, or a difficult relationship. The one thing that's always within your control is how you respond. You choose your mindset. You choose how you react to what happens to you. So, what does this have to do with defining yourself by your values instead of your possessions? Everything. When you start defining yourself by your values, you begin to make choices based on what truly matters to you, not based on what society says you should have or what others think you should do. Values are the compass that guides your choices. For example, if integrity is one of your core values, you will make choices that align with being honest, ethical, and true to yourself, even when it's hard. If growth is one of your values, you will choose to embrace challenges, take risks, and push yourself to become better every day. The more you define your life by your values, the less you'll feel the need to prove yourself through material possessions. You'll begin to understand that the real worth of life is not in the things you have, but in the choices you make that align with who you are and who you're becoming. Let me give you a few steps to help you start defining yourself by your values. 1. Identify your core values. Sit down and reflect on what really matters to you. What are the principles that guide your life? Is it honesty, compassion, adventure, integrity? Identify your top 3 to 5 core values. 2. Align your actions with your values. Once you've identified your values, start making choices that align with them. This could mean saying no to certain opportunities that don't align with your values, or saying yes to things that make you feel more authentic and true to who you are. 3. Embrace growth over comfort. When you choose to live by your values, you will be faced with challenges. Growth often comes from discomfort. So choose to grow, even when it's hard, and stay committed to the person you want to be, not the person others expect you to be. 4. Reevaluate your possessions. Take a look at the things you own. Do they align with your values? If you value simplicity and sustainability, are your possessions helping you live that out? If not, maybe it's time to let go of things that no longer serve you. 5. Practice gratitude for what you have. Shift your focus from what you don't have to what you do. Gratitude grounds you in your values. When you're grateful for what you already have, you stop chasing material things and start appreciating the life you've built by living in alignment with your values. The power of choice lies in the simple fact that every day you are choosing who you become. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or relying on external circumstances to change. It's about owning the decisions you make and understanding that your choices will shape the life you live. Now, let's remember this. The only real freedom you have in life is the freedom to choose how you respond to what happens to you. So instead of focusing on what you don't have, start choosing the things that truly matter to you. Your values, your actions, and your mindset. When you begin to live this way, you will start to see a shift. The more you define yourself by your values, the less you will feel the need to define yourself by what you have. And that, my friend, is freedom. That's truth for all. You always have a choice. By defining yourself by your values and not your possessions, you step into a life where your choices lead you toward deeper fulfillment and authenticity. Next up, we're going to talk about how to stop letting your feelings control you and how to take charge of your own emotional landscape. Stay tuned. This is one of the most powerful truths you can learn because it shows us just how much control we have over our emotions and how we experience life. It all starts with the way we think. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where you were feeling completely overwhelmed, stressed out, or maybe even angry, only to realize that it wasn't the situation that caused those feelings, it was the way you were thinking about it? It happens to all of us. You face a challenge at work. Someone says something that rubs you the wrong way, or something goes wrong in your day, and suddenly you feel like your world is falling apart. You feel hurt, frustrated, anxious, or defeated. But here's the reality. Your feelings are not caused by the event or the person. They're caused by the thoughts you have about that event. Think about it. Two people can experience the exact same event, and yet they will have completely different emotional reactions to it. One person might see a setback as an opportunity for growth and learning, while the other might spiral into a sense of failure and anxiety. The difference? The thoughts they're thinking about the situation. It's easy to believe that our emotions are just reactions to the world around us, that life happens and we simply react to it. But the Stoics taught us a different way of looking at our feelings. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What does that mean? It means that your emotions are a reflection of the thoughts you have, the meaning you attach to what happens in your life. For example, imagine you get rejected from a job. You might think to yourself, "I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. No one will ever hire me." Those thoughts create feelings of shame, defeat, and disappointment. Now, let's say you change your thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," you think, "This wasn't the right opportunity for me, but I can learn from this and get better for the next one." Those thoughts create feelings of hope, motivation, and resilience. This shift doesn't happen by magic. It happens because you consciously choose to change the way you interpret the situation. You choose the thoughts that will shape your emotional response. This is the real power you have. You control how you think, and in turn, you control how you feel. Let's explore how this works a little further with an example. Let's say you're at a party, and someone you don't know doesn't acknowledge you when you walk in. One person might think, "I must have done something wrong. They don't like me. I'm being ignored, and now I feel terrible." The result? Feelings of insecurity, hurt, and frustration. Another person might think, "Maybe they didn't see me, or maybe they're just focused on something else. I'm not going to take it personally." The result? Feelings of confidence, calm, and peace. The situation didn't change. The only difference was the thoughts. That's the power you have when you start to realize that your feelings are just the result of the story you're telling yourself. So how do you start to change your emotional experience? 1. Become aware of your thoughts. The first step is becoming aware of what's happening in your mind. When you feel a strong emotion, whether it's anger, anxiety, or frustration, take a moment to pause and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Is it a thought that's empowering you, or is it a thought that's dragging you down? 2. Challenge your thoughts. Ask yourself if your thoughts are based on reality, or if they're just assumptions, fears, or past experiences that don't apply to this moment. For example, if you're thinking, "I'm not good enough," ask yourself, "Is that true? What evidence do I have that I'm not good enough?" you'll likely realize that it's an old belief that's not rooted in the reality of who you are now. 3. Choose better thoughts. Once you've challenged your negative thoughts, you can start to replace them with more constructive, positive ones. Instead of thinking, "This is going to be terrible," think, "I'm going to do my best, and whatever happens, I'll learn from it." It's not about denying your feelings, but rather about shifting your perspective so that your emotions align with your values, your goals, and your sense of peace. 4. Practice daily thought work. Changing the way you think is not a one-time fix. It's a daily practice. When you wake up in the morning, check in with your thoughts. Are they positive? Are they in alignment with your values? Are they helping you become the person you want to be? And when negative thoughts pop up throughout the day, catch them and shift them. This is how you take control of your emotional landscape. The more you practice this, the more natural it will become. You'll start to see that your feelings are not random. They are the result of the choices you make in your mind. You will become less reactive and more proactive in how you respond to life's challenges. Now, I want you to think about this. How would your life change if you stopped blaming external events for your emotional state? What if, instead of feeling angry or frustrated when something didn't go your way, you took a moment to check in with your thoughts and changed your perspective? What if you stopped letting your emotions control you, and instead you became the master of your own emotional world? When you realize that your feelings are caused by your thoughts, you gain an incredible amount of freedom. You no longer have to be a victim to your emotions. You can choose how you feel by choosing how you think, and that's the true power of your mind. So, let's wrap this up. Your feelings are caused by your thoughts, and you have the power to choose those thoughts. When you begin to master your thoughts, you begin to master your emotional life. This is the kind of inner freedom that Stoicism teaches us. You are not controlled by external events. You are controlled by how you respond to them. Now that we've discussed how your thoughts create your feelings, let's move on to the next truth. How to be accountable for your own life and stop letting excuses control you. Stay tuned. Truth 6. If you don't learn to be accountable, you will be held accountable. This truth is all about taking ownership of your life, your decisions, and the consequences that come with them. When you accept responsibility for your choices, you gain the power to shape your future. Here's the hard truth. If you don't take responsibility for your life, life will eventually hold you accountable. It's easy to get caught in the trap of blaming others for our circumstances. We blame our upbringing, our parents, our friends, our bosses, or even fate for the things we don't like about our lives. But when we do that, we give away our power. We surrender control over our own lives and allow external circumstances to dictate our happiness, our success, and our sense of fulfillment. Now, I'm not saying that life is always fair or that we don't face challenges beyond our control. Bad things happen to everyone. We all go through tough times, but the question is, how do we respond to those challenges? Do we let them define us, or do we take responsibility for how we move forward? You see, the moment you stop blaming the world and start taking ownership of your situation, something incredible happens. You regain your power. When you stop waiting for someone else to fix things, when you stop pointing fingers at everyone else, you start the process of healing and growth. That's when true change begins. Let's face it, blame is easy. It's easy to say, "I would have succeeded if only I had the right connections," or "I could have been happy if they hadn't treated me that way." Blaming others feels good because it absolves us of responsibility. But it's also the reason why many people stay stuck in the same patterns year after year. Think about it. As long as you see yourself as a victim of circumstance, you remain powerless to change your future. You might feel like the world owes you something, or that life hasn't been fair. But until you take responsibility for the choices you have made, and the choices you will make moving forward, you will remain stuck in the cycle of self-pity and frustration. I want you to imagine this. What if, instead of blaming your circumstances, you took full ownership of them? What if, instead of saying, "I can't do this because of that person or this situation," you said, "I'm going to figure out how to make the best of this situation"? How would your life change? It's easy to blame your past. We all have things in our past that hurt us, that we wish we could undo. But the more you blame your past, the more you keep yourself from moving forward. Your past does not have to define your future. Your choices do. In the words of the philosopher Nature, freedom is the will to be responsible to ourselves. True freedom comes when we own our choices, good or bad. It means taking responsibility not just for the things that go well, but for the things that don't. And here's the kicker. You don't need to be perfect to be accountable. You don't have to have it all together. What you need is humility, courage, and the willingness to say, "I messed up, but I'm ready to do better." It's that simple, and it's that hard. But here's the thing. Nothing grows in blame. Growth happens when you stop running from the truth, stop making excuses, and stop hiding behind your past. Growth happens when you look yourself in the mirror and say, "I might not have control over everything, but I am in control of how I respond." Think about it. As long as you see yourself as a victim of circumstance, you remain powerless to change your future. You might feel like the world owes you something, or that life hasn't been fair. But until you take responsibility for the choices you have made, and the choices you will make moving forward, you will remain stuck in the cycle of self-pity and frustration. I want you to imagine this. What if, instead of blaming your circumstances, you took full ownership of them? What if, instead of saying, "I can't do this because of that person or this situation," you said, "I'm going to figure out how to make the best of this situation"? How would your life change? It's easy to blame your past. We all have things in our past that hurt us, that we wish we could undo. But the more you blame your past, the more you keep yourself from moving forward. Your past does not have to define your future. Your choices do. In the words of the philosopher Nature, freedom is the will to be responsible to ourselves. True freedom comes when we own our choices, good or bad. It means taking responsibility not just for the things that go well, but for the things that don't. And here's the kicker. You don't need to be perfect to be accountable. You don't have to have it all together. What you need is humility, courage, and the willing to say, I messed up, but I'm ready to do better." It's that simple, and it's that hard. But here's the thing. Nothing grows in blame. Growth happens when you stop running from the truth, stop making excuses, and stop hiding behind your past. Growth happens when you look yourself in the mirror and say, "I might not have control over everything, but I am in control of how I respond." Life will always hold you accountable. Eventually, it will demand that you face the consequences of your actions. If you avoid confronting your bad habits, your health will deteriorate. If you avoid owning your relationships, conflict will arise. If you avoid facing your truth, your inner peace will slowly erode. But here's the good news. You can change this. As long as you're alive, you can choose to step into your power and take ownership of your life. It doesn't matter how far you've gone down the wrong path. Every day is a new opportunity to choose differently. So how do we start? 1. Identify areas where you've been avoiding responsibility. Think about your finances, your health, your relationships, or your career. Are there areas where you've been blaming others or external circumstances? Recognize where you're avoiding accountability. 2. Own the choices you've made. You can't change the past, but you can change how you respond to it. Accept your mistakes, take responsibility for them, and make peace with them. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be willing to learn and grow. 3. Take action today. Start with small, manageable steps. Is there something you've been putting off that you know you need to do? Maybe it's a hard conversation, an overdue task, or a decision you've been avoiding. Take the first step. 4. Stop waiting for someone else to fix things. Oh, if you're waiting for a savior, a miracle, or a perfect moment, stop. You are the one you've been waiting for. Start making the changes you want to see in your life. 5. Forgive yourself and keep moving forward. Accountability isn't about beating yourself up. It's about understanding that you have the power to change. Let go of the guilt and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. Remember, you don't need to be perfect to be accountable. You just need to be humble enough to admit when you've made mistakes and courageous enough to fix them. The more you take responsibility for your actions, the more you'll reclaim control over your life and shape the future you want. That's truth 6. If you don't learn to be accountable, you will be held accountable. Taking responsibility for your life doesn't mean it's easy, but it's the path to true freedom. The more you own your choices, the more you grow, and the more you create the life you want to live. Now let's move on to the next powerful truth. People will cheer for your growth, but only until it disrupts their comfort. Truth 7. People want you to do well, but not better than them. This truth can be an eye-opener, especially when you start to realize that personal growth often challenges the people around you. It's an uncomfortable reality, but understanding it can help you protect your own growth without guilt. Here's the next harsh truth you need to face. People want you to do well, but not better than them. Now, before you get defensive, think about it for a moment. How many times have you had people cheer you on at first? You're starting something new, achieving a goal, or taking a big step toward personal growth. At first, it feels like everyone is rooting for you. Friends, family, colleagues, everyone is happy for you. But then, something starts to change as you gain momentum. The excitement fades, and instead of cheers, you start to feel subtle resistance. It's one of the most painful truths about growth. Not everyone will celebrate your success when it starts to threaten their own comfort zone. At first, the support feels genuine. People smile when you take that first step towards something new. They cheer you on when you start making progress. But as you rise, truly rise, something shifts. The moment you start surpassing the people around you, even just a little bit, the energy changes. What was once encouragement may turn into subtle resistance. The jokes might get a little sharper. The silence might become louder. The support might feel conditional. It's one of the most painful lessons in growth. Not everyone who starts with you will stay with you. The people who have been your closest supporters may begin to distance themselves, not because they don't love you, but because your growth reminds them of their own stagnation. Your progress forces them to face their own fears, their own insecurities, and their own failures. And instead of using your success as inspiration, they might resist it to protect their own comfort. But here's the real kicker. Your success and progress have nothing to do with them. It's about you. Your growth is your responsibility, your choice, and your journey. You are not here to hold back so that others feel comfortable. You are not here to play small for anyone's ego. Think about it. When you start to grow, really grow, you will outgrow some people. That's natural. It doesn't mean that you're better than them, but it does mean that your path is moving in a different direction. Growth creates tension, and transformation demands that something changes. The question is, will you shrink to make others comfortable, or will you keep growing, regardless of what anyone else thinks? I know that this is hard. It's painful to see people around you who once cheered for you, now resisting your rise. But here's the thing. This is a test of your courage and your conviction. Will you allow their fear of losing you, or their discomfort with your growth, to hold you back? Or will you stay true to your own path? Let's talk about what you can do when this happens. 1. Recognize that their resistance is about them, not you. When people begin to pull away or act differently toward you because of your success, it's often a reflection of their own fears and insecurities, not a reflection of your worth or value. It's important to understand this, because it will prevent you from internalizing their discomfort. Their reaction is not your responsibility. 2. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. It's tempting to downplay your success or to hide your growth in order to keep the peace or make others feel better. But this only holds you back. You are allowed to grow, to evolve, and to shine. You don't need to apologize for your success, and you don't need to dim your light to fit into someone else's idea of comfort. 3. Set boundaries with people who resist your growth. It's okay to step away from relationships that no longer support your growth. If people around you are constantly trying to pull you back, if they make you feel guilty for wanting more, or if they become resentful of your progress, you might need to create some space. It's not about cutting people off, but about protecting your energy and surrounding yourself with people who encourage your evolution, not hinder it. 4. Seek out people who truly support your growth. The beauty of growth is that as you evolve, you'll attract people who align with your journey. These are the people who will challenge you, who will hold you accountable, and who will celebrate your success without feeling threatened by it. Surround yourself with those who inspire you to keep going, not those who want you to stay small so they feel comfortable. 5. Understand that you don't need permission to rise. No one gets to decide how high you can go except for you. You don't need anyone's approval to follow your dreams or pursue your goals. Don't wait for people to give you permission to be great. Give yourself that permission. Keep growing, keep pushing. Keep striving for the best version of yourself, no matter who stays or goes. And here's the most important part. You should never feel guilty for outgrowing environments or relationships that no longer serve your highest good. True love, true friendship, and true connection should never demand that you shrink to make others feel comfortable. The people who are meant to be with you will grow with you. They'll rise alongside you, not against you. So when you start to outgrow people, don't hold back. Embrace the growth, keep moving forward. And trust that you will attract the right people into your life, the ones who will cheer you on, not from a place of competition, but from a place of true support. That's truth 7. People want you to do well, but not better than them. Growth will challenge the people around you, and that can be painful. But don't let their resistance stop you from evolving. Keep growing and stay true to your journey. Next up, we're going to talk about how to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start taking action, no matter how imperfect it may seem. Stick with me. Let's continue with Truth 8. There is no perfect time to do anything. This is one of those truths that everyone needs to hear, especially when we get caught up in waiting for the perfect moment to start something important. But here's the truth. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Let's dive into a common trap we all fall into. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start that project when I have more time? Or once I feel more confident, I'll take that leap? Or maybe, when I have everything figured out, then I'll start my business, write that book, or have that difficult conversation. You might be waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect version of yourself to start. And guess what? That perfect moment doesn't exist. Think about it. How many times have you said, just one more day, one more week, one more month? How many opportunities have you passed up, thinking that you weren't ready yet, that you needed more preparation, or that you should wait for things to feel more right? The truth is, the longer you wait for the perfect moment, the more life passes you by. The perfect time is an illusion. a myth we create to avoid discomfort, fear, and the unknown. This is exactly what the Stoics warned us about. Epictetus once said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" In other words, how long are you going to put off the things that truly matter in your life just because you feel like you're not ready? The truth is, you will never feel completely ready. And that's okay. Readiness comes through action, not through waiting. Here's the thing. The moment you start to take action, even if it's imperfect, you begin to build momentum. You start learning, adapting, and growing in ways you could never have predicted. But if you keep waiting for the perfect time, you're only keeping yourself stuck. Think about some of the greatest achievements in history. Do you think they all happened because people waited for the stars to align? No. They took risks, made mistakes, and learned as they went. They didn't wait for things to feel comfortable or for every detail to be perfect. They took action, imperfect action, and that's how progress is made. Let's break down how this truth works in real life. Imagine you want to start a new career or business. You've been dreaming about it for months or even years, but every time you think about taking the first step, you hold back. Why? Because you're waiting for the perfect time. You think that you need more money, more knowledge, or more experience. You're waiting for the perfect moment. But guess what? The more you wait, the more time you waste. The perfect moment will never come because life is messy, uncertain, and unpredictable. If you keep waiting for everything to line up perfectly, you'll never take the first step. And that's the problem. Taking the first step is where the magic happens. So, what do you do instead? You start now. Even if you don't have everything figured out, even if you're scared, even if you're not completely ready, the key is to start. Start with the imperfect first step. You can always adjust along the way. Here are 5 ways to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start taking action. 1. Shift your focus from perfection to progress. Instead of waiting for everything to be perfect, focus on making progress. Even small imperfect steps are better than standing still. Progress is all about moving forward, even if it's not as polished as you'd like. 2. Start before you feel ready. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll never take the plunge. The truth is, you'll never feel fully ready. The key is to embrace the discomfort of starting before you feel ready, knowing that you'll learn and grow along the way. 3. Break it down into small, actionable steps. When you think about starting something big, it can be overwhelming. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment, break your goal down into smaller, actionable steps. Start with one small thing you can do today. Maybe it's research, setting up a website, or making a phone call. Every small step brings you closer to your goal. 4. Embrace imperfection. Perfection is a moving target. The more you wait for everything to be flawless, the longer you'll stay stuck. Accept that imperfection is part of the process. Instead of waiting for things to be perfect, allow yourself to make mistakes, learn, and improve as you go. 5. Stop overthinking and just do it. Overthinking is one of the biggest barriers to taking action. We get caught up in analyzing every possible outcome, trying to predict the future, and second-guessing ourselves. Just start. The more you analyze, the more you delay. The key is to take action now and adjust along the way. Let's face it, waiting for the perfect time is just fear in disguise. It's fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of stepping out of your comfort zone. But here's the secret. The only way to overcome fear is to act. And the more you act, the more confident and capable you become. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes through action. So, here's a simple challenge. What have you been waiting for? What have you put off because you thought you weren't ready? Take the first step today. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Just start. And as you do, you'll realize that the path will reveal itself to you. Clarity comes through movement. That's truth 8. There is no perfect time to do anything. There will never be a perfect moment, but there will always be a perfect now. Start today and take that first step toward your dreams. Let's continue with Truth 9. Someone always has it better or worse than you. This truth is about the dangers of comparison, how it distorts our perception of our own lives, and how we can break free from it to live a more authentic and fulfilling life. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt proud of yourself, feeling like you were doing okay, only to see someone else's life and suddenly feel inadequate? Maybe you just hit a milestone, whether it's a promotion at work, achieving a personal goal, or simply taking better care of yourself. And for a moment, you felt at peace. You felt like you were on the right path. You took a deep breath and thought, I'm doing well. But then you checked social media or overheard a conversation, and suddenly that feeling of pride started to slip away. You saw someone else with a bigger house, a better body, more friends, or seemingly more success. And just like that, your sense of fulfillment faded. Welcome to the world of comparison. It's one of the most destructive habits we have, and it's something that we're all guilty of at times. Comparison steals our peace. It makes us question our worth, our success, and our happiness based on someone else's life. But here's the harsh truth. Someone will always have it better than you, and someone will always have it worse. If you constantly measure your life against others, you will never find peace. The ladder of comparison is endless. No matter how high you climb, there will always be someone ahead of you. The metrics keep changing. As soon as you reach one goal, someone else will have reached another level. And that's the trap. You're always chasing someone else's definition of success, never truly celebrating your own journey. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and emperor, warned us not to waste time thinking about what a good person is, but to focus instead on becoming one. He said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. The same applies to comparison. Stop wasting time worrying about what others have or what they're doing. Be who you are. Live your life. Here's the thing. Comparison isn't just a distraction. It's a distortion. We compare ourselves to other people's highlight reels. We see their carefully curated moments, their polished success, and we compare them to our raw, behind-the-scenes reality. But what we don't see is the struggle, the insecurity, or the sacrifices behind their achievements. Think about it. Two people can face the exact same challenge and have totally different emotional reactions. One might see it as an opportunity for growth, while the other might spiral into feelings of defeat. The difference isn't the situation, it's how they interpret it. The lens you look through determines how you feel, how you react, and ultimately how you experience life. That's why comparison is so dangerous. It's built on false assumptions and distorted perspectives. You're not seeing the full picture. When you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, you're creating a narrative that isn't true. You're ignoring the uniqueness of your own journey and trying to fit yourself into a mold that isn't meant for you. So, what's the alternative? The alternative is to stop measuring your life against someone else's. Stop looking at what others have and instead focus on your own growth. Measure your progress against your past self, not against someone else's success. Here are a few ways to break free from the trap of comparison. 1. Focus on your own journey. Instead of looking at someone else's life, take time to reflect on your own journey. Where were you a year ago? What progress have you made? Celebrate your growth, even if it's not as big or as flashy as someone else's. Your progress is valid, even if it's not Instagram-worthy. 2. Be grateful for what you have. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to comparison. When you're focused on what you already have, it becomes harder to feel envious of others. Take a moment each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for. Your health, your relationships, your accomplishments. The more you appreciate what you have, the less you'll feel the need to compare. The 3. Stop following social media accounts that trigger comparison. Oh, if scrolling through Instagram or Facebook leaves you feeling inadequate, unfollow or mute accounts that trigger those feelings. Protect your peace by curating the content you consume. Follow people who inspire you to grow, not people who make you feel less than. It's your feed, and you have the power to choose what fills it. 4. Embrace your own timeline. Oh, we live in a society that often makes us feel like we need to hit certain milestones by certain ages, whether it's getting married, having kids, or achieving career success. But the truth is, everyone's timeline is different. Your life is your own. There is no set schedule for when you should achieve certain things. Embrace where you are and trust that everything will unfold in its own time. 5. Practice self-compassion. Oh, be kind to yourself. It's easy to be hard on yourself when you're comparing your life to others. But remember, you're doing the best you can with the resources and experiences you have. Don't beat yourself up for not being where someone else is. Focus on how far you've come and the steps you're taking to improve. 6. Use others' success as inspiration, not as competition. Oh, instead of feeling threatened by someone else's success, choose to be inspired by it. Celebrate their victories, knowing that their success doesn't diminish yours. Their achievements are proof that success is possible, and that's something you can learn from, not compete with. The key here is to stop seeing yourself as in competition with others. Life is not a race. Your journey is unique to you. You are not meant to be anyone else. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Let's recap. Truth 9. Someone always has it better or worse than you. Comparison steals your peace and distorts your perception of reality. Stop measuring your life against others. Instead, measure your progress against your past self. Practice gratitude, self-compassion, and embrace your own journey without worrying about where others are on theirs. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you free yourself to live a life that's true to you. That's Truth 9. That's Truth 9. It's time to stop the endless cycle of comparison and start living your life based on your unique path. Now let's move on to the next truth, how fear holds you back from truly living and why facing it is the key to freedom. Stay tuned. Now let's move on to Truth 10. Fear will keep you from living. This is one of the most powerful truths, because fear often keeps us stuck in situations we don't want to be in. But fear doesn't protect us from bad things happening. It prevents us from living fully. And the only way to break free is to face it head on. Let's face it, fear is a part of life. Everyone has felt it at some point, and it shows up in so many different ways. Whether it's the fear of failure, the fear of looking foolish, or the fear of stepping into the unknown, fear can hold us back in ways we don't even realize. We feel afraid of doing something, and as a result, we avoid it. We tell ourselves, I'm not ready. What if I fail? What if it's too late? And so we stay stuck, paralyzed by our own fears. But here's the truth. Fear doesn't stop bad things from happening. It doesn't prevent failure, pain, or disappointment. What fear does is stop us from living. It stops us from taking risks, from seizing opportunities, and from living the life we're truly capable of. Think about the moments in your life when you've hesitated, when you've played it safe because you were afraid. Maybe it was a career decision, a relationship, or a personal goal that you let slip away because you were too afraid to try. Fear often feels like a warning, like it's trying to protect us from harm. But in reality, fear is often just a story we tell ourselves about what might happen. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This is so true. When we're afraid, our minds often create vivid worst-case scenarios that feel so real, even though they haven't happened. We imagine the worst possible outcome, and in doing so, we paralyze ourselves. Fear creates movies in our minds, and while we're busy playing them out, real life is passing us by. Here's the kicker. Fear doesn't always tell the truth. It's not always based on reality. Think about it. When was the last time you were afraid to do something, but once you did it, you realized it wasn't as bad as you thought? The fear was a lie, a story we created in our minds. Here's how fear works. It tends to magnify situations that haven't even happened yet. For example, you might be afraid to ask for a promotion at work, and you imagine all the things that could go wrong. What if they say no? What if they think I'm not good enough? What if I embarrass myself? But here's the truth. Most of those fears never actually come to fruition. And even if they do, you can handle them. The fear of something is often worse than the reality of it. So, what do we do about this? How do we break free from the grip of fear? 1. Acknowledge the fear, don't avoid it. The first step to overcoming fear is to acknowledge it. When you feel fear rising, don't ignore it or try to push it down. Instead, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of here? Understand what the fear is trying to tell you and ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Often, you'll realize that the worst-case scenario isn't as catastrophic as you imagined. Number 2, take small steps toward the fear. The way to overcome fear is not by avoiding it, but by facing it, step by step. If you're afraid to speak in public, don't jump straight into giving a speech in front of a large crowd. Start small. Practice in front of a mirror, then with a friend, and then maybe in a small group. Gradually build your confidence so that when the bigger moment comes, you've already taken action. Each small step will reduce the power that fear has over you. 3. Reframe your thoughts. Fear often comes from negative thoughts and assumptions. We tell ourselves, I can't do this, or I'll fail if I try. Instead, try reframing those thoughts. Instead of thinking, what if I fail? Think, what if I succeed? Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, think, I am capable of learning and growing. Changing the way you think can help you shift your emotional response. 4. Focus on what you can control. Fear often arises when we focus on things we can't control. We fear the unknown and we get overwhelmed by what's out of our hands. But you can always control how you respond. You can control your actions, your attitude, and your efforts. By focusing on what you can control, you take the power back from fear. 5. Understand that fear is a signal, not a stop sign. Fear doesn't mean you should stop. It's a signal that something important is on the other side of it. The greater the fear, the greater the opportunity for growth. If you're afraid, it means you're stretching your limits, and that's a good thing. Embrace that fear and use it as motivation to push through. 6. Trust in your ability to handle discomfort. One of the main reasons we avoid fear is because we're afraid of discomfort. But the truth is, discomfort is where growth happens. We're capable of handling so much more than we think. If you start to face your fears, you'll realize that even when things don't go as planned, you can handle it. Life doesn't fall apart just because something challenging happens. You are resilient, more than we think. Now let's recap Truth 10. Fear will keep you from living. Fear doesn't stop bad things from happening. It stops you from living fully. Fear is often based on imagined scenarios, not reality. It's a story we create in our minds. Face your fear, acknowledge it, and take small steps toward it. The more you face it, the less power it will have. Trust in your ability to handle discomfort. It's in those moments of discomfort that you grow the most. That's Truth 10. Fear will keep you from living. Fear doesn't have to control you. When you start facing it, one step at a time, you'll realize that it doesn't have the power you thought it did. You are stronger than your fear. Next up, we'll talk about how your expectations often lead to disappointment, and how letting go of rigid expectations can bring you peace. Stay tuned for Truth 11. Let's continue with Truth 11. Your expectations are what cause disappointment. This truth is about understanding the difference between hope and expectation, and how we often set ourselves up for disappointment by demanding things from life or others that aren't realistic. Let's break it down. This is one of the most subtle yet impactful truths about life. We all have expectations about how things should go, how people should behave, and how life should unfold. We expect our relationships to be smooth, our careers to flourish, and our efforts to bring results. But what happens when life doesn't meet those expectations? Disappointment. Think about the times you've been disappointed. Whether it's a friend who let you down, a goal you didn't achieve, or an experience that didn't turn out as you hoped, there's a common thread in all of those situations. You had expectations about how things should be, and when they didn't match up with reality, you were left feeling frustrated, upset, or defeated. Here's the problem. Expectation is rigid. It's a demand you place on life, on others, and even on yourself. Hope, on the other hand, is flexible. It's an open possibility of what could happen without the pressure of needing things to go a certain way. When we expect something to happen a specific way, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment. Life doesn't follow our plans. It's messy, unpredictable, and often doesn't align with our timelines or desires. When we demand that life unfold according to our expectations, we end up feeling let down when things inevitably don't go as planned. Let's break this down with a few examples. 1. Expecting perfection from yourself. You set high standards for yourself, expecting that you should always succeed, always perform perfectly. But what happens when you make a mistake or when things don't go as planned? You feel defeated, as if you've failed. But the truth is, you're not failing. You're learning, growing, and improving. Mistakes are a natural part of growth, but when we expect perfection, we can't allow ourselves to embrace the lessons in failure. 2. Expecting others to meet your needs or treat you a certain way. We all have expectations about how people should treat us, but those expectations don't always align with reality. When someone doesn't meet our expectations, we feel hurt or upset. But here's the thing. People are not mind readers. They're living their own lives, and sometimes they don't have the capacity to meet our expectations. When we expect others to behave in a certain way and they don't, we end up feeling let down. Number 3, expecting things to happen on your timeline. We often expect that things should happen when we want them to, whether it's getting that promotion, finding a partner, or achieving a personal goal. But life doesn't always work on our timeline. When we force things to happen according to our schedule, we end up frustrated when they don't happen as quickly or in the way we hoped. Patience is key, and understanding that life will unfold in its own time is crucial to reducing disappointment. The truth is, expectations often lead to resentment, whether it's toward ourselves, others, or life itself. And here's the biggest problem with holding on to expectations. They create a false narrative. We're so focused on what we think should happen that we miss what is actually happening. We lose sight of reality, and when reality doesn't match our expectations, we feel disappointed. So, what's the alternative? How can we navigate life without setting ourselves up for constant disappointment? 1. Replace expectations with intention. Instead of setting rigid expectations, try setting clear intentions. Intentions are open to flexibility, and they focus on your actions rather than the outcome. For example, if your intention is to be more present in your relationships, it's less about expecting people to act a certain way, and more about how you show up in those relationships. Intentions give you the freedom to adapt to whatever comes your way, while still aligning with your values. 2. Embrace life's unpredictability. Life is not a straight path. It's full of twists, turns, and unexpected detours. The key to embracing life without getting stuck in disappointment is to accept that unpredictability is a part of life. When things don't go according to plan, instead of feeling defeated, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Flexibility is key to reducing disappointment. The more you embrace the unknown, the more you open yourself up to unexpected opportunities. Number 3, practice gratitude, not entitlement. Often, disappointment comes from a sense of entitlement, feeling like you deserve something, whether it's a specific outcome or treatment from others. But gratitude shifts your perspective. Instead of focusing on what you feel entitled to, focus on what you already have. Appreciate the small victories, the moments of growth, and the things that are going right. Gratitude keeps you grounded in the present moment, helping you see the abundance you already have, rather than focusing on what's missing. 4. Let go of control. One of the biggest sources of expectation-driven disappointment is our desire to control outcomes. Life will not always unfold the way you want, and trying to control everything will only lead to frustration. Instead, learn to surrender to the process and trust that everything will unfold in its own time. Let go of needing to control every aspect of your life and allow space for things to evolve naturally. 5. Be open to new possibilities. When we set rigid expectations, we often close ourselves off to other opportunities. If we think we know exactly what should happen, we miss out on the unexpected opportunities that could be even better than what we planned for. Be open to the unexpected and trust that life has a way of bringing us what we need, even if it doesn't look the way we thought it would. Let's recap Truth 11. Your expectations are what cause disappointment. Expectations are rigid and set us up for failure. Gratitude and intention are the antidotes to expectation-driven disappointment. Life is unpredictable. Accept that and embrace the journey with flexibility. Stop trying to control everything and trust the process. That's Truth 11. Let go of expectations and you'll find more peace, fulfillment and joy in the present moment. Now let's move on to the final truth. You are the creator of your own life. How much of your life is shaped by your choices, your actions, and your mindset? Let's explore how you can take full ownership of your life and build the life you've always dreamed of. Stay tuned. Let's dive into the final truth 12. You live the life you create for yourself. This is perhaps the most powerful of all the truths because it reminds us that we are not passive bystanders in our own lives. We are the creators. This is perhaps the most powerful of all the truths because it reminds us that we are not passive bystanders in our own lives. We are the creators. This is it. The final truth in our journey of Stoic wisdom, and it's one that brings everything together. Think about this. Every day, every choice you make, you are shaping your life. It's easy to believe that life just happens to us, that we are victims of our circumstances. We tend to think that the situations we find ourselves in, the challenges we face and the people around us are the things that define our lives. But here's the truth. The life you're living right now is the result of the choices you've made up until this point. And here's the kicker. You have the power to change it. Every choice you make, every action you take, and every thought you believe is shaping the life you're living. You are not stuck. You are creating your life in real time. This truth can be incredibly empowering if you let it. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. Your life is not defined by what happened to you yesterday or by what others have done to you. It is defined by the choices you make today. The power to shape your future lies within your hands. And it starts with owning the fact that you are the one creating your life. For some, this might be a tough pill to swallow. It's easy to blame others. It's easy to point fingers at the past, at circumstances, or at other people. We've all done it. We've all blamed others for our struggles. whether it's a bad relationship, a toxic environment, or missed opportunities. But when we do that, we give away our power. We give up the ability to change our situation because we're too busy pointing at the past instead of looking at what we can do right now to move forward. Your life is not the result of your circumstances, it's the result of your choices. Let's break this down further. 1. Take responsibility for your life. The first step in truly creating the life you want is to take full responsibility for it. You are the creator. This doesn't mean you are responsible for everything that happens to you. There are many things that are outside of your control. But you are responsible for how you respond to everything that happens. When you accept responsibility for your actions, you reclaim your power. 2. Understand the power of small choices. Many people think that making a big life change requires some dramatic, life-altering decision. But the truth is, it's the small choices that add up to a big life transformation. Whether it's deciding to wake up early and start your day with purpose, choosing to eat healthier, or even deciding to be kind to yourself, these small choices are the building blocks of the life you're creating. 3. Embrace the present moment. Your life is being shaped right now, in the present. The choices you make today are the ones that will determine the path you're on tomorrow. Don't wait for some future moment when everything will be perfect or when you have it all figured out. The best time to start creating the life you want is now. If you wait for the perfect moment, you'll always be waiting. The present is the only moment you have, so use it wisely. 4. Align your actions with your values. We've talked about defining your values and living in alignment with them. Now it's time to put those values into action. Your life will always reflect your values. If you say your family is important but you never spend time with them, your life will show that disconnect. If you value growth but you're stuck in the same routine, your life will reflect that too. Align your daily choices with what matters most to you, and you'll see the life you desire begin to take shape. 5. Stop waiting for permission. So many of us live our lives waiting for someone else to give us permission to go after what we want. Maybe it's permission from a boss, a parent, a friend, or even from society. But the truth is, you don't need permission to live the life you want. You don't need anyone's approval to follow your dreams, take risks, or make a change. Give yourself permission to take control of your life. You are the author of your story, and you have the right to write it however you choose. 6. Create the life you desire. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that your life is out of your hands. We tell ourselves things like, if only I had more money, if only I was smarter, if only things were different. But here's the truth. The life you want is within your reach. You have the power to make different choices, to take different actions, and to create a life that aligns with your deepest desires. It all starts with making a decision. The decision to take charge of your life. Let's recap Truth 12. You live the life you create for yourself. You are the creator of your life. The choices you make today shape the future you will live. Stop blaming circumstances or others for where you are in life. Small choices matter. The more aligned your choices are with your values, the more fulfilling your life will be. The present moment is where life happens. Don't wait for some future time to start taking action. Give yourself permission to take control and start creating the life you want now. That's Truth 12. The life you live today is the result of the choices you've made. But you can start creating the life you want right now. Don't wait for someone else to give you permission. Take the first step and let your actions guide you to the life you desire. Conclusion. There you have it. 12 harsh truths that can change the way you see yourself and the world around you. These truths aren't easy to face, but they are powerful. They have the potential to wake you up, to shift your mindset, and to help you live a life that's more authentic, meaningful, and fulfilling. By now, you've learned that you are the creator of your own life. You can stop waiting for the perfect moment and start taking action today. You can stop comparing yourself to others and begin defining your success on your own terms. You can take responsibility for your choices and begin shaping your future, no matter where you are right now. These truths may sting at first, but they will set you free. They'll help you break through the barriers of fear, disappointment, and self-doubt, and begin living with intention, authenticity, and resilience. Now, it's time for you to take action. Start by choosing one truth to focus on today. Is it about letting go of expectations, facing your fears, or taking full responsibility for your life? Whatever it is, start small, but start now. The power to change your life is in your hands, and every choice you make today creates the life you will live tomorrow. If this video has resonated with you, if these Stoic principles have sparked something in your heart, then I encourage you to take the next step. Like this video if you found value in the lessons shared today. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear which truth hit you hardest and how you plan to start applying it in your life. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Wisdom today for more thought-provoking content on personal growth, stoicism, and living a meaningful life. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, and share this video with someone who might benefit from these truths. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, you don't need to be perfect to live a great life. You just need to be honest with yourself. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep living with purpose. Your journey has just begun. Until next time, stay wise, stay strong, and keep shaping your life with Stoic wisdom.